Welcome, everybody, to the Tristen Law Show. We're back here for another episode of Season 3 of this thing that I just do because I like doing it. The outpour of the support from everybody has been so great that I decided to set up the studio that I have. I got a little studio that I got now. Just got to do some painting and some other cool things that I would like to do to make it feel a little bit more than a studio. But yep, got the big computer set up, not sitting at the kitchen table anymore, talking about I'm making a podcast. But yeah, we are definitely back here. We are live right now on YouTube. I don't have a schedule of when I'm going to go live on YouTube, so what I recommend is for you to follow or like and subscribe and share and all this here on YouTube if you're watching this right now. As I figure out what works and what doesn't work, I'll come out with a schedule later on. But today we're going to be talking about John Cena's epic career in the WWE and how he just announced his retirement from the WWE last Saturday at the last WWE Premium Live event / pay-per-view, Money in the Bank. So right now we are getting ready to ramp up for a John Cena farewell tour, and this is probably the best place. This is the best place for you to be so that you can catch up with everything that is John Cena related. Just want to throw out a quick disclaimer out there. All the images that you will see today on this episode of this podcast, they don't belong to me. I borrowed them under the Fair Use Act, so they belong to the WWE, they belong to Paramount, and they belong to all of their other respective copyright holders. It's just the image. It's not video or anything like that. So, yeah, don't sue me. So, yeah, definitely talking about John Cena here today. And, yeah, this podcast is fully interactive. In case you have never been here before, 973-826-0101 is the number that you can use if you want to send a text message. You can send a text message to the show for the text message to be read live on the air. That is something that I do here to make this a little bit more interactive. You could also call that same number, 973-826-0101. You can call that same exact number as well too, and leave a quick voice note. And now we could play that here on the air live on YouTube, and you'll be able to catch this on demand when it ends up on your favorite podcast platform. But yeah, definitely we're live here. So the thing about John Cena is that John Cena's been wrestling for the WWE for I don't want to say wrestling because he hasn't been actively wrestling full time, but he's been with the WWE for about 21 years. He started in 2000 to 22 years. He's had 22 years of being underneath the WWE umbrella. He made his debut against Kurt Angle on the July 22nd, 2022 episode of SmackDown. Wait till you see what the guy looked like back then. But he came out in a promo for Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was out there calling people out from the background to come out, and he wanted to see who back there is willing to face him, and he's willing to take on any newcomer whatsoever. So John Cena comes out into the ring, and he challenges Kurt Angle. Not so much in the challenge, but it definitely was a verbal challenge. He got asked by Kurt Angle, who do you think you are? And John Cena says, I'm John Cena. That's a good answer. That's his name. He is John Cena. And he asked him, Kurt Angle asked John Cena, what business does he have, or what gives him the right to think that he can stand in the ring with somebody that is not in his tax bracket? Okay, like Kurt Angle was the man at that time. He is an Olympic athlete. He was very accomplished in WWE, and he was a hell of a worker, a hell of a wrestler. So, John Cena said, ruthless aggression. And, I don't think that Kurt Angle took so well to that, because as you can see here in this photo here, he's laughing at John Cena. He's ridiculing him. I mean, I would too, if I was the man the way that Kurt Angle was the man, like, yeah, okay. But that was ushering in the ruthless aggression stage in the WWE. About a month prior, if I'm not mistaken, Vince McMahon came out and told everybody that they were ushering into a new era of professional wrestling. WCW was no longer, ECW was no longer, WWE was the only kid in town. And at that time, we were transitioning as fans from the Attitude Era with the blood, the boobs, the booty, all the stuff that all of us grew up on, and going into something a little bit more. What was it? We don't really know, but the Ruthless Aggression era was in between the Attitude Era and the PG era, which was coincidentally headlined by John Cena. But in that match between John Cena and Kurt Angle on his debut, you could see that John Cena had something with him. There was something with him. He was special. The match was good. The match was paced very well. He kept up with Kurt Angle, but it wasn't John Cena's first time wrestling. John Cena was an indie guy. John Cena got his training at UPW, if I'm not mistaken. That's where he went ahead and he got his training for pro wrestling, and that's where he got his start. So he was a pro wrestler, but he was an Olympic wrestler. Looking at John Cena now, looking at his gear, his outfit, he was 100% create a pro wrestler. Look at the tights on this guy. It's generic red and black, red knee pads, red and black boots, red wrist tape with black outline, and he had generic music. If you were going to build a pro wrestler, you were going to build John Cena. That is exactly who you were going to build in a WWE video game. You would have built somebody like John Cena, and that could be part of the reason why Kurt Angle's laughing at him too. Like, yo, bro, you don't even have gear. You don't even have your name on yourself. One of the things when I first started wrestling was that I was looking for colors that I think looked really nice together, and I thought red and black was cool. When I started wrestling and I wore red and black, I came in my red and black gear and I looked around. I'm like, wow, we all look like one giant tag team because we all have red and black on. Red and black are two colors that go great together. As you can see, my headphones are red and black, and my shirts are red and black as well too. And my beard is black, and I'm black. So red and black goes great together. So eventually, John Cena progresses in his career, and he becomes the Doctor of Thugonomics. That was his rapper gear, where he would wear jerseys and stuff like that mimicked the town that he was in. So if he was in New York, as you can see, he was in New York in this video here at WrestleMania, he wore his New York Knicks jersey. Sometimes he would wear throwback jerseys as well. John Cena gained popularity with his charismatic promos. Promos are when the two people are standing in the ring and they're talking to each other, or when the video just has that one wrestler and that one wrestler is being talked to or interviewed in the backstage. That's called a promo, right? You're promoting the next event. You're promoting the next match. You're just promoting promo. So, John Cena would actually take it a step up. He wasn't talking, he was rapping, he was freestyling. Okay, and the raps were nice. At the time, they were good. It's like, oh, wow. And the thing is that, to put this in a very nice way, as a kid that grew up in, the Bronx, and, I'm familiar with rap music, seeing a guy like John Cena rapping is like, yo, bro, you can rap? Same exact thing happened for Eminem, and the same exact thing happened for Vanilla Ice. Coincidentally, John Cena was actually dressed up as Vanilla Ice when he first started doing this. And then it just took off into something else. It took off into John Cena actually getting his own album, his own CD, his own record called You Can't See Me. And coincidentally, you can't see him on the cover of the album. It was actually released on May 10th, 2005. And the You Can't See Me album peaked at number 3 on the US Billboard rap albums, and number 15 on the Billboard Top 200 songs. That's dope. That's good. That's really good for somebody like John Cena. But maybe it worked as well too because he had the WWE machine behind him. But for that to be a #1 rap video, rap album, his first rap album, that's dope if you ask me. And, maybe one of his lifelong dreams was to become a rapper, and that's what he got to do as well, too. He got to be a rapper. Later on, we're going to talk about him becoming a movie star, but he got to be a pro wrestler. And I think that pro wrestling is one of the gateways of entertainment. Like, if you want to be an entertainer, start with pro wrestling, because in pro wrestling, you learn to really become an entertainer. And I think that's why I fit naturally well when it comes to podcasting. I like podcasting. I like sitting here in front of the camera and talking to you. Like, for me, it's I still get to entertain, and I'm glad that I'm here with you guys as well too. But yeah, he won his first championship. It was the U.S. championship. He won that at WrestleMania 20. That's that picture right here where John Cena won the WWE U.S. championship. He beat the Big Show for it. I remember watching that live in a bar in Florida. It wasn't really a bar. It's more like a Hooters, and that's where I was able to watch John Cena for one of the first times and be excited that he was there. But that was not his last run. John Cena has had a lot of championship accolades underneath his name. Like, if you were looking for somebody to look at somebody's career and see all the stuff that they did, John Cena is the man for it. John Cena's first WWE championship, where he was on the top of the company, he defeated JBL at WrestleMania 21. 1 year after winning the United States Championship, he beat JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield, at WrestleMania 21 in Hollywood. And you could definitely tell he was a big baby face, because that's the picture here of him when he won it. He was in the crowd with everybody, and all those people sitting there. You never know that you become a part of history. It's just something that you just do. You go, you support the event that you like, and all of a sudden you end up being a part of WWE history. His second championship was at the Royal Rumble in 2006. He defeated Edge and shortly regained the title after losing it to Edge. That's what he did at the Royal Rumble. He lost the title and then shortly regained it to Edge, and that's what solidified his main event status. That feud between him and Edge too definitely solidified his main event status. His 12th championship reign was the Night of Champions 2013, when he defeated Alberto Del Rio. John Cena, tied the record for the most WWE championship reigns in WWE history. So this guy here is already 10, 11 years into his career, and he's already on his 12th championship win, and he's already tied history. So you definitely know that this guy right here was going to be big things in 2013. In his 14th reign was Survivor Series, November 23rd, 2014. He defeated Brock Lesnar. That match detailed John Cena's resilience and perseverance against a dominant opponent like Brock Lesnar. Royal Rumble 2017 was where John Cena won his 16th World Championship. At that time, he tied with the Nature Boy Ric Flair when he defeated AJ Styles. At that time, John Cena, if I'm not mistaken, John Cena was a part-timer around that time. He was a part-time WWE superstar, WWE wrestler, and what he did was he would just come back and just make the business better. He'd always leave it better than when he found it, and that's one of the things that John Cena did. Tell me about your favorite John Cena championship reign. You can send me a text at 973-826-0101, or you can send me a message here in the chat live, or if you're watching this later on, you can definitely send a message in the chat. I read all the messages. I respond to all the messages. Let's have a little bit of fun in the messages. So if it's just something that you're watching later on, go ahead and leave a message, or you could join in live and just text the show if you're watching it live right now. Cena has been on top as either WWE champion or WWE heavyweight champion for a very long time. It shows his consistency in his craft, and if you're looking at it from a storyline point of view, John Cena's that damn good. John Cena has had to fend off the likes of Brock Lesnar, Triple H, Randy Orton, and Edge, which shows that John Cena was capable of performing in big, high-profile matches. That's why they called him Big Match John. At the time, I didn't get it. I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan of it. I wasn't a fan of him. But Big Match John, definitely looking back at his career now, when he has announced his retirement, you can definitely understand why John Cena was Big Match John. John Cena, unfortunately, has more world title reigns than one of my favorite wrestlers, the Game Triple H. Triple H has 15 world champions, and John Cena has 16, and maybe he'll get 17. Let me know in the chat if he'll get 17. John Cena was a role model because he exemplified hard work, dedication, and perseverance. You could tell in all these matches, John Cena was always fighting from below and fighting up to go ahead and conquer the bad guy, to conquer the beast. And at the end, when John Cena won, he celebrated with all the fans. Another accolade and championship within John Cena is the United States Championship and the Open Challenge. So pretty much Cena won the United States Championship in 2015, and he had an open match challenge, which pretty much re-added prestige to that United States Championship. Now, the United States Championship was one of the championships that WWE took, that they brought over, they transitioned over from WCW when they closed it into the WWE. So there was always prestige on the championship. There are matches that you can find, like Booker T, when Booker T, yes, can you dig it, the 5-time WCW World Champion, Booker T had a best of 7 match. And it was on Nitro, it was on Thunder, and those matches were awesome. I think that was Booker T's coming out. And that championship had prestige on it, maybe just a little bit as much as the WWE Intercontinental Championship. But nevertheless, when it came over to the WWE, I personally felt that belt didn't have any prestige. It was just another belt, just to mirror the Intercontinental Championship, just so they had a belt on SmackDown or Raw or wherever they decided that it was going to be for that year. At that time, it was on SmackDown. The Open Challenge that John Cena did gave younger stars an opportunity, such as like Kevin Owens. It gave younger stars like Cody Rhodes, but he wasn't Cody Rhodes at the time. He was Stardust. Yep, he was definitely Stardust when he won that championship. And the Open Champion, the U.S. Championship Open Challenge match, it was, if you ask me, a callback to when John Cena started. How did John Cena start? John Cena came out to an open challenge by Kurt Angle, and he didn't win, but he had a good showing. And that's how you knew that he was here to stay. A lot of those names that John Cena actually stood in the ring with and wrestled toe-to-toe in the United States Open Challenge, they're big names today. Obviously, one being Cody Rhodes, one being Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and he even stood in there with a couple big names as well too, like, The Big Show, like Kane. But I think it did a lot more for the younger stars to bring them up, and it added more prestige because you had people that were former, heavyweight champions, WWE champions that were fighting for this belt. So it added the prestige back to that championship. You never knew who was going to come out for the Open Challenge, and Stardust was definitely one of them. John Cena's had some memorable feuds in his WWE career. He had some memorable matches as well. Definitely one that I think set him up properly and also set his opponent up properly was the feud that he had with Edge. Cena's story with Edge started at the beginning of 2006 when Edge cashed in his WWE Money in the Bank on John Cena. For those of you who don't know, the WWE Money in the Bank is a briefcase that has a contract in it that guarantees the holder the right to a championship match anytime, any place. Not really any place, but in the ring, but any event. You don't have to promote yourself that you're coming out there. Just come out there and cash it in. And Edge cashed that contract in against John Cena, and that's when the feud started. Cena lost the belt to Edge, but the match culminated in a match that Edge has never lost at the time, and Cena had never been in. This match was a TLC match, and this took place at Unforgiven 2006. Edge was brand new to the main event picture at the time, and John Cena was Big Match John at the time as well too. However, at the end of that match, John Cena proved to be on top. He proved to be, the champion, and he took that belt from Edge. That wasn't the end of their story there, but I remember watching those matches and hating Edge. Edge is one of the people that I actually looked up to when I was a younger pro wrestler. I modeled myself after Edge, Triple H, and Randy Orton. Those are the three people that I modeled myself after, like my in-ring mannerisms, the facials, and the storytelling, and the way that they move in the ring. That's just how I modeled myself after them. So yeah, definitely at that time, Edge was a nobody, but he definitely was a somebody. Let me rephrase that. Let me take that back. Edge wasn't a nobody. He was just a nobody in the main event picture until he got in the ring with John Cena. Edge was already decorated before tag team champion with his BFF Christian Cage. John Cena also had a long-standing rivalry with Randy Orton. That was another one that was crazy as well too. John Cena and Randy Orton both started the WWE in 2002, and their first major match was for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam 2007. Cena was injured in 2007, so he had to relinquish the WWE Championship, and then he came back at the Royal Rumble 2008, won the Royal Rumble, and relit the championship feud between he and Randy Orton. The thing with Randy Orton is that Randy Orton at the time was wild. He's crazy. Randy Orton is wild and crazy. You always got to watch out for Randy Orton. You never know what he's going to do. He's the Viper, and the voices speak to him inside his head, and they still allow him to walk around and deal with regular public. Watching WWE right now, just to make this real brief and short, Randy Orton's a good guy, but I'm not sure. I don't really trust him. And Cody Rhodes trusts him a little bit too much. But we'll have to wait and see. One of my favorite matches between Randy Orton and John Cena was at Bragging Rights 2009. And I like that match because it showcased both John Cena and Randy Orton's endurance, because it was a I Quit match, and it also showcased their storytelling. I don't care what anybody is saying right now about pro wrestling. Listen, you can watch pro wrestling and do 1,000 super kicks, 1,000 punches. You can do every pro wrestling move in the book. None of it matters. Pro wrestling is about storytelling. Every single movie, every single book, every single TV show, the reason why they're so popular is because of the storytelling. You might not be able to remember certain scenes or scene for scene in the movie or move for move in the match, but you'll definitely remember the emotion that you had going into the match. Don't let anybody tell you different if you're a pro wrestling fan. And if you're a pro wrestling fan and you think that, that's good for you. That's good for you. But that's not what pro wrestling is. It makes no sense to me that you can take 100 super kicks and still continue with the match. If a guy kicks you in the face 100 times, you're not going to be able to stand up. Okay? And Shawn Michaels has beat bigger guys with a super kick, and he's only had to hit it once. Maybe twice, maybe 3 times. For me, it's all about the storytelling. When I was wrestling in the ring, I was always a storyteller inside of the ring. Another feud that John Cena had, this one was with Brock Lesnar. This was SummerSlam. This culminated at SummerSlam 2014. This was right when Brock Lesnar came back from the UFC. Let me tell you something. If Brock Lesnar didn't have the medical issues that he had, he'd probably still be in the UFC, right? Because Brock Lesnar's a bad man. Those hands look like he was hitting you with 2 Christmas hams. And at that time, he was a bona fide badass, and he proved that by going to the UFC. And when he came back, he was the former UFC champion, former WWE champion, now back in the ring as a pro wrestler. That's a hell of an accolade, and that's a hell of a mountain for somebody like John Cena to climb. John Cena wasn't a UFC fighter. He was a pro wrestler, and he had to learn, storyline-wise, how to persevere in the ring with somebody who was a UFC fighter, right? Because Brock Lesnar choked people out. So how do you get close to somebody that strong, that big, without being choked out? Lesnar walked into SummerSlam 2014 and just took the belt off John Cena. You know, he dominated John Cena in that match. And I suggest for you to go back and watch that match, SummerSlam 2014, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. Cena walked in as the champion, and Brock Lesnar walked out as the champion. That match took about 15 minutes of total domination. Obviously, Brock Lesnar lost that belt later on, and John Cena was able to climb the mountain again. But you know, it wasn't for nothing. It took one of the lives, one of the cat lives off of John Cena. One of the other matches and feuds that'll definitely go down in history with John Cena is his iconic match, his iconic rivalry with The Rock. We talked about The Rock in the previous podcast episode for my WrestleMania XL reactions. I suggest for you to watch that if you're a wrestling fan or if you're a fan of The Rock or you want to understand how behind the scenes wrestling works. Go ahead and look at my last video to get the comments, and also put a link in there for you to watch the video as well. I wanted the Rock to get to whoop John Cena, right? The Rock came in. The Rock was the bad guy. The Rock was the 100% the bad guy. And that's the storytelling that lasted for a year. We're going to go more into that a little bit later on. But tell me your favorite feud, your most memorable feud with John Cena. Maybe one of his your favorite matches of his, if you are a fan of John Cena. I think at this time and day and age, we're all fans of John Cena, especially if you're a pro wrestling fan. So go ahead and just leave in the message and just tell me which of your favorite matches you like that were John Cena. John Cena's definitely had some WrestleMania moments like we were just talking about with The Rock. We'll definitely get into that. But in chronological order, the WrestleMania 21. That was John Cena's first WWE Championship win. There's nothing like your first. You can think about your first everything, your first time going to school, your first kiss, your first time going to this special place. It's his first championship. His first WWE World Championship, you know, the heavyweight championship of the world. He's on top of the world of the WWE. And that was his first. His second one was WrestleMania 23, where he had to square off against Shawn Michaels for the WWE Championship. At that time, they were both tag team champions together. They were together as a group, right? And I guess they were forced together as a group. However, that match is my style of wrestling. It's nice and slow. It went fast at times, and it was all about the storytelling. Now on to the one that I think, the WrestleMania moment that I think that solidified, that was a feather in the cap for The Rock. It was, I mean, not The Rock, for John Cena. It was more of a passing of the torch moment with John Cena and The Rock at WrestleMania. A couple years prior, John Cena, not John Cena, I apologize. A couple years prior, The Rock had the torch passed to him from Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was on the top. The Rock was on the top. The Rock shared the top. The Rock was never really on the top by himself. He was up there with Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, and Mick Foley, but he was one of the top four, one of the pillars of WWE during the Attitude Era. So now John Cena is the top. He's the face of the WWE. He's the face of the PG era, and he was in the ring with a story that started with John Cena and The Rock at WrestleMania 28. At WrestleMania 28, The Rock came in, embarrassed John Cena, beat John Cena in the ring, was the WWE champion and whatnot, and said, you know what? In a year, WWE said, you know what, in a year, we're going to go ahead and we're going to give you this main event again. That's crazy. I've never seen anything like that, to where they've planned the main event in a year and publicly told people. I was on edge for that whole entire storyline, because as a pro wrestler, I said, what if somebody gets hurt? Then what do you do with the story? You just throw the whole story out. That was one hell of a gamble. One hell of a gamble, if you ask me. Older fans like myself, we didn't like John Cena. John Cena pantomimed more to the kids. He played for the kids. And he wasn't our hero. The Rock was our hero. If you were in the Attitude Era, The Rock was our hero in that story. So we weren't really big fans of John Cena. But, you know, we secretly wanted John Cena to go ahead and win that match. And this here is the culmination of the end of the match between the both of them, John Cena and The Rock, at WrestleMania 29. After John Cena beat The Rock, and that happened. I was there for that. I was alive. I paid $150 and sat up in the nosebleed, and that was the last time I said, you know what? Never again am I going to sit that far from WrestleMania. But definitely let me know. 973-826-0101. 973-826-0101. You could always leave your messages. If you're watching this later on, leave a message, and I could play it later on. Maybe we can do a little thing to where I can play one or two messages before the start of the next episode. If you are just watching me for the first time, I'm Tristen Law, and just go ahead and just subscribe. I don't have a schedule of when I do this. It's usually at noon in the middle of the week, you know. So I'm just testing a couple things here just to see what works, what doesn't work, and then I'll come out with a definitive, bona fide schedule. But John Cena's legacy and impact to pro wrestling. John Cena has a record-making Make-A-Wish visits, right? So in case you don't know, the Make-A-Wish is for kids who are sick, and what John Cena does is he visits them. It gives them a little like pep in their life, and you know, other famous people, you know, and stars do it as well too. I think that's something that's dope. Dope as in cool, that John Cena gets to do. John Cena is one of the people that he transitioned from pro wrestling to mainstream media. John Cena, if you ask me, he's one of the last people to transition from pro wrestling, WWE, over into Hollywood. At this time, there's nobody that is bigger than the WWE. You're just as big as the WWE. Like right now, yeah, Roman Reigns is on top. Roman Reigns is the man. Roman Reigns is out there doing movies as well too, but I don't feel that he is going to be as big as The Rock or as big as John Cena. But you know what? Time will only tell. John Cena has had some significant roles in entertainment. He's known for the 2021 movie Suicide Squad. It was nominated for 43 awards and won 4. I think that's a pretty good accolade for John Cena to be a part of a movie that won that many accolades. John Cena was also a part of the 2021 movie F9, the Fast Saga. That's a part of the Fast and Furious. I think that might be up to like Fast 900. Looking at it now, a lot of the top stars in the WWE were in Fast and the Furious history. Look at it like this. John Cena was in it. The Rock was in it. and Roman Reigns was in it. So maybe Roman Reigns is going to be somebody big in Hollywood. Look, I'm not saying that I don't want him to be. I'm just saying that the way that pro wrestling, the way that WWE is shaped right now, that it doesn't look like anybody's ever going to be bigger than the business ever again. But you know what? If he could be and he could feed his family, he doesn't have to bump around in the pro wrestling ring, make more money without being away from his family so much, you know what? God bless him. John Cena was also in the Transformers spinoff Bumblebee. That's right. You can see him right there. Yep, John Cena was in that movie as well too. That one was nominated 13 times and won 2. John Cena himself decorated. John Cena himself is a decorated Hollywood star. John Cena has been nominated 17 times and won twice. That's dope, if you ask me. And also another fun fact I want to talk about being in entertainment for John Cena. When you look at John Cena's IMDb, John Cena has been on WWE television. I'm only counting NXT. I'm counting Monday Night Raw, and I'm counting SmackDown. 740 times he's appeared on those programs. 740 times you can attribute that John Cena's been on there. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a lot of television. That shows that John Cena's been around for a long time. He's an OG. John Cena's talking about when he retires from in-ring action that he still wants to give to the WWE. You can definitely tell his passion there. Some of John Cena's later career and part-time status, notable mentions are definitely the U.S. Open Challenge. Its impact, like I said before, it opened the door for other people to be brought up to the next level, other stars in the making to showcase themselves, and it also opened the door for other U.S. Championship Open challenges, such as what Logan Paul did. He's the current WWE United States champion. John Cena was part-time and feuded with AJ Styles. Their matches were high quality, if you ask me. Cena feuded with a well-known name in the pro wrestling, and AJ Styles feuded with a well-known name in the WWE. That's what you call the rub, where you take two stars and you rub them together, so maybe that, you know, their famousness or their star power will split to the other. So you take the more popular person and the less popular person. AJ Styles was popular. He just wasn't a WWE guy. He wasn't known for WWE. If you didn't watch pro wrestling outside of like WWE, you wouldn't know that John Cena existed. So you rub them together so they get the rub, and they both move. And I think right now that AJ Styles definitely is a big name. We all didn't like John Cena, like I said, because he wasn't our hero, but it was always cool to see John Cena when he came back. John Cena coming back to WWE events was like having that big cousin that you love so much that you don't get to see often. You always war when you see each other, but you know what? When you see your big cousin, you give him a dap, and yo, cuz, good to see you. So, who made the potato salad? John Cena is definitely one for the record books. He's definitely one that I'm glad that we got the opportunity to meet. I'm glad that he has progressed well in advance from his create a wrestler look that he had when he first stood in the ring with Kurt Angle. But when John Cena made that announcement a couple days ago that he was retiring from in-ring action of the WWE, you can see that he's a little bit emotional. And you know what? I felt a little bit of emotion for him as well too, because it's something that you just love. It's like getting rid of your wife, you know, like that you still love. You know, it's like getting rid of that car that you still love. You know, there's passion in it. And I know that there's a time that I'm going to have to step away from the ring and never, ever get back, ever go back. And I know that John Cena knows that once he leaves, he's done for sure. He's done for sure. You know, one of the things that I think that a lot of wrestlers that we look at in this day and age, that we don't want to be a caricature of ourselves. There are a lot of people that wrestled in the WWF in the 80s that still wrestle now. They still wrestle when I wrestled. And a lot of them were caricatures of themselves. They weren't who they were on television. And obviously things happen. You know, you can't beat Father Time. Time is time. And when time is ready for you, time is going to catch you. So I think by John Cena leaving, Right now, I think he leaves while he's on top. He's still going to be able to leave while, you could say, I remember John Cena being good in the ring. As I said, he said that he's still going to stick around. He's not going anywhere. So that's going to be awesome to have John Cena be able to, give his brain, knowledge to other up-and-coming superstars. He said he's not going to be doing anything in the ring. He's done. He is finished. I'm looking to John Cena's farewell tour. Right now, we're looking forward to see John Cena come through in 2025. He's going to be there for when Raw goes on Netflix. That's going to be iconic in itself. That's going to change pro wrestling itself. That's going to be something that we're all going to be looking forward to, that, WWE will no longer have individual streaming rights or television rights for Raw. They'll just have one, and it'll be on Netflix. And Netflix paid a hell of a lot of money for it. John Cena's his legacy, John Cena's legacy will be that he was the face of the WWE PG era. John Cena, if you ask me, he was the last crossover pro wrestler into Hollywood. These days it's opposite. You have Hollywood coming over to, or fame coming over to the WWE, such as Pat McAfee, who was a big kicker in the NFL. He kicked the football, American football. He wrestled once or twice. Didn't have a bad showing, if you ask me, and now he's an announcer on WWE doing play-by-play. You also have Logan Paul, who's a YouTuber, became famous from YouTube, right? And now Logan Paul is a WWE superstar. I think that's awesome as well too, that people now want to come backwards. John Cena, one of my personal stories with John Cena. I never liked John Cena. The reason why I never liked John Cena is because when I was in pro wrestling school, John Cena was everything that I was taught not to be. He wrestled in shorts. He had only a couple moves, and he threw a terrible drop kick. If I wrestled like John Cena and looked like John Cena, I promise you I wouldn't have got booked anywhere. But then I stopped as I realized, as I got older and wiser in the pro wrestling business, that I'm not John Cena. That John Cena is John Cena, and it works for him because he is John Cena. I also learned when I grew up as well too in the pro wrestling business that it's not about the moves, it's about the story that you tell inside of the ring. And John Cena is a hell of a storyteller. One of my favorite matches with him, I think it's the greatest Royal Rumble, is where it took place, where him and Triple H were the opening match. The opening match, two multi-time WWE champions, world heavyweight champions, opened up that pay-per-view. It was an awesome match. And I guess Triple H is in a couple of my favorite matches of all time. John Cena has set the bar for passion and intensity doing his time in the WWE. And I want to thank John Cena personally. If you're watching this, John, I want to thank you for your contributions to pro wrestling, and I look forward to whatever else it is that you choose to give us during your transition from being a full-time active wrestler out of the ring. I'm looking forward to your matches. I'm looking forward to your bangers, and I'm looking forward to see what you do in Hollywood. Okay, I think you got a pretty cool personality when it comes across on the camera when you're acting, and I think you got a pretty cool personality when you're doing one-on-one interviews as well too, as seen on the press conference when you were answering questions about your retirement. I encourage you, if you're watching this, to give me your greatest John Cena moments. Feel free to drop them in the chat. Let me know how you feel. You can also call 973-826-0101 and leave a voice message. You can even send a text. Don't forget to tell me who you are and where you're calling from. Let's make sure we get that most important information in there as well too, so we can give you the proper credit. And if you're watching this later on, like I said, just come into the YouTube chat and just leave a message and, let me know what your favorite John Cena moment is. I definitely want to thank you for joining me today and being a part of my dream, which is talking in front of the microphone. I enjoy it. It takes me outside of my comfort zone because I definitely want to do this with somebody else. I want to have somebody else that I can throw my ideas off of, but it's so hard to be a podcaster or a radio personality to where you're talking by yourself. But you know what makes it easy for me? You're joining me here and you're coming back and you people are watching the videos, and I appreciate you for that. And if you like what I did here today, I'm asking you for you to subscribe. And I'm asking for you to share this with somebody that you think may appreciate this. My name is Tristen Law, and this is the Tristen Law Show, and I want to thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time, and as they say in Puerto Rico, adios.